She stood in the middle of the street with her little bag in hand, her heart shattered, and nowhere to sleep. Her best friend, the same girl who brought her to Lagos with promises of a better life, had just slammed the door in her face. She was 18, fresh out of secondary school, and this wasn't the life she was promised. But this story didn't begin on the streets of Lagos. It began in a small village in southeastern Nigeria where dreams were big, but money was small. Before we go deeper into this powerful, life-changing story, make sure you subscribe to this channel, click the like button so YouTube recommends it to others, and comment below, where are you watching from? Now, let's begin. Chinaza was born into a life most people wouldn't choose, but she never complained. She helped her mother fry gari, fetch water, and sell palm oil at the roadside. Her father had passed when she was still learning how to tie wrappers, and her mother did what she could with what little they had. Chinaza was the kind of girl who washed her mother's clothes before she asked. She greeted elders with respect and made sure her siblings ate first. She had just finished secondary school. Her WAEC result was good enough for university, but the money for fees simply didn't exist, not even enough for JAM registration. So she waited, hoped, and prayed. Then, one dusty afternoon, hope came. Hope came into the village in the form of her childhood friend Amaka. She used to live just down the road. They had fetched water together as children, made corn paste over firewood, and fought over mangoes. But this Amaka was different. She had long lashes, gold-plated chains, and an iPhone she held like a trophy. Her nails were red, her laugh was loud, and her perfume filled every corner of the room. She hugged Chinaza tight. "Chi, baby," she shouted, wrapping her arms around her. "You still dey this village?" Chinaza smiled shyly. "I'm still here, oh," she said. That evening, Amaka spoke of Lagos like it was paradise. She said she had her own place and a lot of connection. She told Chinaza that she could come with her, start life afresh, and even get a job in a salon or something better. "You too fine to waste here," she had said. "Lagos go love you." Her mother hesitated when Chinaza broke the news to her, but Chinaza was tired of waiting. With one small bag and her mother's reluctant blessing, she left with Amaka. But Lagos didn't feel like paradise. It felt like punishment. There were crowds, sweat, noise, long queues, longer traffic. Amaka's apartment was barely big enough for one person, yet 3 women lived there. And at night, unfamiliar men knocked and entered like they had keys. Chinaza kept her head down. She cooked, cleaned, fetched water, and sold sachet water on the roadside. She gave Amaka part of the little she earned. But it didn't take too long for the pressure to start. "Chinaza, this your 2K where you dey drop, not even cover food. You think say I be end you?" Amaka snapped one night, tossing her wig aside. "I'm trying," she said quietly. "You see how I work hard every day. I wash clothes, I sell water, I sweep compounds just to have something to contribute. But you dey chop like the rest of us, Abi?" Amaka folded her arms. "You better help yourself, or help me help you." A few days later, the pressure started. "Chinaza, just one night. I fit connect you. One night go change your life. The man get money, he go give you 250K. Chinaza's stomach turned. "I can't," she said. "You dey form holy for this Lagos?" Amaka laughed, but there was venom in her voice. "You dey chop my food, sleep for my mattress, they wear my slippers, but you too holy to hustle. Abeg." Chinaza didn't answer. She didn't know what else to say. Days passed, the tension grew thicker, and the silence louder. Then one evening, after yet another argument, Amaka lost it. "You know what? Carry your bag. Comot. I don't try for you, but you no want help yourself. Good luck finding who go pity you next." And just like that, the door slammed in her face. Chinaza stood outside with her bag. No place to go, nowhere to turn. She wandered for hours until she saw a church, and slept outside the gate. The next day, Chinaza went knocking from gate to gate, begging people for chores to do for them in exchange for food. She washed clothes, cleaned shops, and sold water on street corners. Her skin burned under the sun, her slippers wore out, but her dignity remained intact. She cried sometimes, but never cursed. And then one Wednesday evening, after church, she met a woman named Sandra. She was quiet, older, with callous palms and kind eyes. "I have been watching the way you clean the church and must say that you do it very well," she said, watching Chinaza arranging the chairs after service. "Thank you, Ma." Chinaza smiled faintly. "Where do you stay?" she asked. Chinaza hesitated, then whispered, "Nowhere." She told Sandra a bit about all she has been facing since she arrived Lagos. Sandra's eyes softened. "They are looking for an office assistant where I work. Nothing big, but he can help. Can you do it?" Chinaza nodded before she could think. "Yes, Ma." Sandra wasn't rich, but she offered Chinaza a place to stay in her small house. Chinaza wore borrowed clothes to the interview with worn-out shoes, but she held her head up, wore a beautiful smile, and was respectful. She was hired. It wasn't much, filing, running errands, serving tea in the office, but Chinaza treated that job like it was everything. She arrived before the security man. She left after the manager. Never late, never rude. Then one Monday morning, everything changed. Some foreign auditors came in from America. Tall, sharp, and serious-looking men. When Chinaza was called to serve them coffee, some didn't acknowledge her presence, some simply said thanks. But there was one of them who kept throwing glances at her. He looked at her in a way that made her feel seen, and when he said thank you, Chinaza could tell that he truly meant it. His name was William. He was just different, not loud, not proud, just kind. He smiled gently when she offered him tea, he asked for her name, and he listened like he actually wanted to know. "Chinaza," she said nervously. "That's a beautiful name," he replied. Chinaza smiled and said, "Thank you, sir." After that, he greeted her every morning when he came into the office, asked questions, laughed at her silly comments, and some days he lingered unnecessary in the break room. Once, after office closed, she was walking down to the bus stop when William saw her and pulled over. "Are you walking?" he asked. "No, sir. I will take a commercial bus at the bus stop." "Let me drop you off. Just a ride." Chinaza declined, at first, stating that she didn't want to waste his time, but he insisted. It became a routine. Once a week turned into twice. She would sit in the passenger seat, staring out the window, unsure of what to say, and he never pushed, never touched her, never crossed a line. But one Friday evening, something changed. They stopped for suya, bought some, and shared in his car with soft music playing. William made her laugh hard over awkward Lagos slangs he had heard. They shared stories they never thought they'd tell anyone. She spoke about her village, about her dreams of getting a university degree someday. He spoke about his sister who died young and how that made him want to do more with his life. He turned to her. "You know, you're the most decent lady I've met since I came here. I admire that." She looked down. "I'm just trying to survive without letting my family down. I want to help, if you let me," William said gently. She said nothing, but her heart was listening. A week before he returned to the US, he handed her a brown envelope. "This isn't charity. It's an investment because I believe in you." Inside was an admission letter to a federal university. Her tuition fully paid. He'd pulled strings, worked quietly, and Chinaza could now go back to school. He said, "I want you to have options. The world needs people like you at the table." She tried to speak, but all she could do was cry. He left shortly after, but his absence was never silent. He called, wrote, checked in, flew in a few times to see her, and encouraged her through every semester. 4 years later, Chinaza graduated with honors. William flew in for her convocation. When he saw her,
He just stared. "You were never meant to blend in," he said. "You were born to lead." That same week, Chinaza took him to her village to meet her mother. Her mother welcomed him happily and gave them her blessing. The traditional marriage happened few days later in the village. From the canopies to the breaking of kola nuts, the wine carrying, everything was just perfect. Her uncles rejoiced. The entire compound was in a celebration mood. After that came the court wedding. Just a few witnesses, simple and quiet. And months later, William flew her and her mother to the US, where he threw her a wedding she never imagined. It was white, elegant, flowers everywhere, family and friends from both sides, journalists quietly observing. Yet Chinaza didn't feel small. She stood tall, graceful, confident, and radiant. Her wedding gown sparkled under the lights, but it was her eyes that held everyone's attention. Eyes that had seen rejection, pain, perseverance. Amaka saw it on Instagram. She didn't believe it, not until she watched the clip from the wedding on YouTube, where Chinaza stood at the altar and said, "To every girl out there who thinks dignity doesn't pay, I'm here to tell you it does. It may take time, but it will speak." Sandra was there too, dressed in a beautiful blue lace. She was honored publicly as the one who gave Chinaza a chance when she had nothing. Chinaza never forgot. She brought Sandra to the US later that year, helped her set up a cleaning agency in Lagos, and registered her daughter in school. Her mother now lived in comfort. No more frying gari, no more headaches about rent. And Chinaza is now living her best life in America with her Odogu husband. She built a foundation for young girls like her, girls with nowhere to go, girls with enough dignity to refuse compromise, but not enough resources to survive it. She never flaunted her success, but when people asked, she smiled and said, "I didn't arrive here by chance. I arrived because I waited for my time, and when it came, I was ready." Because sometimes the girl who sleeps outside a church gate today becomes the billionaire's bride tomorrow. All she has to do is not give up. Sometimes, God hides diamonds in dirty places, but when the time is right, He polishes them and lets the world see their shine. Chinaza could have given up. She could have chosen the easy way out, but she stayed true to herself. And now, she's not just loved, she's transformed. Let her story remind you, dignity pays. Delays are not denials. Your own time will come. If this story touched your heart, do 3 things. Drop a comment with, "My time will come." Share this story with someone who needs hope, and subscribe, because more real stories are coming. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful, and remember, the world hasn't seen the best of you yet.